Welcome to Beyond Measure. Today we're making a card with the Tim Holtz Sissix Alterations Texture Fade set. Let me see, it's called Thankful. And first off, we're going to stamp some little leaves on the raised flat area of the embossing folder. Upon doing this, you can get a nice little background effect. You'll see it as soon as we get finished. Okay, so let's put everything into the cuddle bag. And next we'll place my parchment paper inside of the texture fade. And then here we go. Write 'em up, bring 'em in, everybody's sure to win. Okay, how'd it turn out? Oh, looky here. Yes, it's really, really pretty. See, it's just a little bit of a different look on the background there. See, the texture fades really give a deep embossing, and that is so very, very nice. Okay, so let's ink the different phrases, words, however you want to term them, with the different shades of Tim Holtz Distress Inks, my favorite ink on the planet. It's so forgiving and blendable, and just very, very thankful for it. So I'm using a myriad of colors. Let me see, we're using Rusty Hinge on the words blessings and love. Then we used Pill Paint on November and Harvest. I used Frayed Burlap on Family and Autumn, and Aged Mahogany on Hope and Faith. We've got to do something a little special for that area that reads Thankful, but first we've got to ink the edges with Vintage Photo. So here it comes. What you have been waiting for, I just know it, is the climax. Oh my goodness. Zig emboss pins. You would think I represented them, but I don't. They're just really versatile and I enjoy using them, and they're pretty forgiving. So I am going over the dry embossed area of my card in which says Thankful. Of course, you don't have to go over it with anything, but I thought it'd be really nice to add a bit of a pearl look. This embossing powder is made by Ranger, and it is gold pearl. I used my little paint brushes to get the excess off, because sometimes, because of the open drying time of the distress inks, it has a tendency to grab a hold of the embossing powder if you're using it on something else. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I'm so thankful for the way it turned out. And next up is the Coordinations Craft Core. It is gorgeous and such fine quality. So I used the back of a paintbrush to go around my card and just tearing it out. And it looks a little rough around the edges, but we like it rough around the edges on this because that's what the intent is. It really makes for a great effect. Now let's distress around this so that it won't look so choppy, and it'll stay with the theme of the card being a bit distressed and or aged. Next up is our Walnut Stained Tim Holtz Distress Ink. Let's do a round, around and around the cards we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. Next, we'll tint the Hug Snug seam binding with the peeled paint ink. I really enjoy using my ATG gun, especially when I'm coordinated enough to make it work correctly. I don't know if either of you have those difficulties, but sometimes, oh my lands. Or like the guy in Heidi says, my word. But let's use the brayer. Oh, up next, we need to use my We Are Memory Keepers Big Bite. It's so versatile because it allows you to go in most projects. It doesn't matter how large or how small. Those are charm clips by Tim Holtz Ideology line, and they're very versatile also. I enjoy using those on cards. You can do a plethora of things with them. I'm threading the seam binding through there and fastening it with what's called the long fasteners, and they're very, very nice because you can use quite thick things to poke them through, but yet they're still long enough to handle it. Now I need to fasten the ribbon to the back of the card so it doesn't flop around or come out once I adhere that to my card base. And my card base is going to be made from this fantastic paper, the Distress Collection of Coordinations by Tim Holtz. It's really, really beautiful and gives you a great professional look. This is my Crafter's Companion. This is the only way in which I have been blessed to be able to actually fold straight. It's so wonderful. It's just great. I'm just praise the Lord for it. So let's distress the outside edges of my card base, and then let's ink it with the walnut stain. Not much, because I'd really like to see the core, but I'd like to have a bit of aging too. Oh, and my favorite adhesive, Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive. I'm going to go ahead and use that on the back of our topper of the front. Let's use our brayer. Love it, love it, love it. The brayer is very, very nice tool to have. You know, I don't know if you're like me, but I've had different times when I've wondered if I needed to get certain things, but I really like my brayer. So this is a part of the Texture Fade set also by Tim Holtz Alterations, and it has a little pumpkin and some vines, and I just thought for the inside sentiment that it'd be a really classy addition to the card. So let's see how it turns out. I'm sure it'll be super, yeah, really, really pretty. I'm very pleased. And again, guess what? Zig embossed pens are here to save the day. And gonna write a sentiment in here, just a simple thank you actually, and then my husband will complete the rest of it with his handwriting because he's really, really good with words. And so I'm going to emboss this with the heat now, and I speculate that it will be beautiful because I just love all kinds of embossing. Dry embossing, heat embossing, it's all just grand. Love it, love it. And as you can tell, I got a little teeny bit of ink out of lines, and so I took a clean little applicator foam and went in there and used it as if it were an eraser. Now it doesn't get every single bit off, but it did a uber fab job for the inside sentiment of our card. Thank you so very much. This is our completed card. Be blessed beyond measure.